Hello, I'm Gabrielle and I'm an autistic mum and I've got two autistic kids. And I would say the best times that we've had at school, whether that be kinder or childcare or primary school, because that's as far as we've gotten at this stage, is when the class teacher or the welfare teacher is really actually interested in autism and how it impacts children and families. And I think this makes them curious and open about the diversity of experience that can offer, and it also makes them just care about the child and the family in front of them. So I found that when we go to a facility and there's an original meeting at the beginning of the year, we can get to know them, they can get to know us, that this sort of planning phase is actually really important, because they understand the school or that place, I don't, and they will know how the system can then accommodate the child. I think often children are expected to accommodate the system and they can't. Sometimes that adaptive capacity just isn't there. So when the welfare teacher or the class teacher understands the school, understands the child, they then know how to make changes that really work and that really make that child feel supported. And as a mum, it makes me so much more comfortable. And I know when my kids are happy, I'm happy. When they're not happy, unfortunately, I'm not. And I'm much happier and they're much happier when the teachers and school really cares about our experience and truly takes into account what we need and implements that in good grace with good intelligent knowledge and doesn't make a big deal of it. That's when things have worked really well for us. The greatest challenge I think I've had in a school is that we changed our son to a new school, and I tried to ask all the right questions. I tried to get all the information I needed about the support, about the structures, about the culture towards autism, about the expectations, about the sort of collaboration with me and our providers they were willing to do. And I was told all the right things. I was told, yes, we can scaffold play. Yes, we can have people in. Yes, we will make all the changes we need to make your child as comfortable as possible. And when we got in there, there was goodwill, but we were then told, well, there's no time to do this. There's no time to make sure he's got someone to play with. There's no time to check after play how it went. And that broke my heart because my son was on his own in a school. He didn't know anybody, autistic, not reading social cues, not knowing how to predict what was going to happen. And my worst fears happened in that in the first 9 weeks he was at school, he had 8 incidences of aggression and violence towards him. And this is because he was on his own. He was walking around the school on his own, anxious, not reading situations that were potentially very vulnerable for him and where he was socially exposed as being a kid on his own. And in the schoolyard, that's not what you want. So the way this could have been best managed, I think, is to just scaffold my son socially, make sure he had someone to play with, and if it didn't work out, find out why. And to allocate time to a child who has a disability or a difference that is known. These issues are predictable, and to me, those incidences of aggression were extremely preventable. I think what schools can do to create a better environment for autism is have accountability from the governments and from school councils and school districts. Just cut all that bit out. Start again. I think what schools can do to make the life of an autistic person and their family better is actually be accountable to certain guidelines and best practices that ensures that enrolment and as the child goes along the school year by year, that every teacher has the appropriate training, that they're the appropriate meetings that are held every term to understand that child, and that there are school systemic changes to support that child. And I'm sure there's more than one autistic child in most schools. And to really get to know those autistic children, work out what collective or what common preferences they have and needs they have, and implement them in goodwill. So, but the thing is that it seems that every single school has their own guidelines. They have their own way of implementing those guidelines. There's no one checking that those guidelines are being upheld. And so you've got parents like myself becoming pain in the bum parents, hassling schools and creating difficult, acrimonious relationships with schools because we want the best for our children. To advocate for our children is just what we have to do. There is no other option. No one is going to do it. So to create the opportunity where schools sees that advocacy as partnership and collaboration, not being a pain in the bum, because we are not. We are, as parents of autistic children, fantastic sources of knowledge about how to best manage these kids and support them to be included in the curriculum, to be included in the social fabric of school, and just have a good time. And I feel that when these kids are happy at school, they're developing positive identities, they're developing resilient emotional lives, and they're also establishing a really good idea about how they fit in the world and making that positive and making that constructive. And so their dreams and their hopes will expand, and their current happiness will also increase, making it much easier to learn and just to have a good time. Thanks, guys.